Okay, saves me drawing a Cartesian plane. Seeing as Australia has come late, I'm going to ask her for all the answers now. So Australia, are you able to tell me what a simultaneous equation is? I've told the whole class. Don't worry, I haven't told them. So I'm just going to put down two equations. A basic one of y equals x, and then I'll put y equals negative 2x plus 2. So simultaneous equations just means there is two equations and they are going to its cross. So whenever I've got two lines is that are crossing, how many points are there on when they intersect? There is 1 point. So that is what we will be using to help us understand and find this point. So if you graph your lines, I can instantly see the point of intersection. But we're going to do it algebraically. Okay. So there is two types. We are going to do the first one, which is So that means we are going to substitute everything into one equation. So for instance, in this case here, I've got y equals 5x plus 5, and I've got y equals negative x take away 9. We know they share one x point and one y point. Because we've got y by itself here, it makes it easier. I am able to substitute this as y into this equation. So, my equation 1 is y equals 5x plus 5, and I like to use 1 and 2 quite a lot. My equation 2 is y equals negative x take away 9. I'm going to sub 2 into 1. Because y is by itself, I can do this already. So in this case here, I'm going to write what is worth and plug it in. That means I've got negative x take away 9 is equivalent to this y is equal to 5x plus 5. Now I've done that, the first thing I need to do is do what we were doing last session, which is solving, getting x by itself. So I've got more x on this side, so I'm going to get rid of my x's on my left-hand side, which means to get rid of negative x, I plus x to both sides. That gives me negative 9 because the x is cancelled. 5x plus x is 6x plus 5. What's the next step, Caleb?
You subtract 5 from both sides.
I subtract 5 from both sides. What's negative 9 take away 5?
Negative 14.
Negative 14 is equal to 6x. What's the final step? Please, Ruth. How do I get x by itself? 5?
6.
Because I'm timesing by 6. So I have to divide it by 6 to cancel out. So I divide both sides by 6. That gives me x and negative 14 over 6. Is that making sense? Yeah? So I could simplify that if I wanted to. They
7 over 3.
both have a factor of 2. So x is going to equal 7 over 3, and it's a negative. So that's the first step to find my x point. But I need the full coordinate. So to find the full coordinate, I need to substitute this value into any one of those equations and solve it. equation do you think will be easier to substitute it in? I'm going to say this one here, because it's simpler. So, the next part is I'm going to sub x equals -7 over 3 into y equals -x take away 9. So if I put that value into this equation, I'm just rewriting it. Y equals, in brackets, -7 over 3, take away 9. And I'm solving for y. If you haven't done that part already, write this down. And I'm going to solve it in a minute. So one thing you'll notice is there's a negative and a negative. So what happens there?
Apply the negative.
It becomes a positive straight away.
That's not.
So I've got 7 over 3, take away 9. To make it easier, with the 9 I can make my denominator 3, so they're the same. Nine is the same as is 27 over 3. Then I can simplify it even further. What is 7 take away is 27?
-20.
Sorry?
-20.
So I've got y equals -20 over 3, which means my coordinate is going to be x is -7 over 3 and y is -20 over 3. So there is a lot of working out with this method. Jake, are you done? And Kayla? I'll wait for Abby, then I'll move on. So the next question, I'm still going to get you guys to do this approach of substituting. But I'm going to give you a couple minutes to do the next question yourself. I'm going to move over. I'll rough the working out off in a minute. But the next question is this. You've got these two equations. -4x take away 3y equals 2. And y is equal to -6x plus 7. I want you to have a go at using the substitution method to solve for the coordinate. If you get stuck, think about what I did first. I labelled my equations, and then I said I'm substituting 2 into 1. I'll write this off in a minute. There is a lot of working out, so I'll slowly go over this step by step, but I'm going to guide you. For those that haven't started or need that extra assistance. First thing is I'm rewriting those equations and labeling them. So my first equation is going to be -4x take away 3y is equal to 2. My second equation, y equals -6x plus 7. We know, being a simultaneous equation, that there is going to be one point where they is crossover. Here you can see I've got y by itself already. If I did it, you'll need to get one of your variables by itself. Because of that, I am just going to sub 2 into 1. because I know what y is worth. So I rewrite my equation 1, negative 4x, take away 3, I stop. I've got my y value. My y value is negative 6x plus 7 is equal to 2. I'll stop there. So that's all we need to have done. And then we're just solving, like we did yesterday, for the value of x. I'm going to call on you guys now to be able to help me out with solving this in a minute. Likewise, yesterday you need to get rid of our brackets, so that means we are going to expand. So if you haven't already, you should be expanding. I'm going to slowly start going over that. I'm going to do my arrows to help, because negative 3 must times with everything inside the brackets. Negative times a negative is a positive. 3 times 6 is 18, so it's 18x. Negative times a positive is a negative. 3 times 7 is 21. Is equal to 2. The next part is looking for like terms. Before I do anything more, I want to simplify. Negative 4x plus 18x is what, Brian? 14. 14x. Take away is 21 is equal to 2. I need to get my x by itself. So I need to get this constant to the other side. So Abby?
Add 21 to both sides.
I add is 21 to both sides. And that will be 14x is equal to is 23. The final step?
Divide both sides by 14.
I divide both sides by 14. So now we've done that, the next step is going to be to substitute it into the equation. So I'm going to substitute 23 over 14 into, what's the easiest one? This one here, 2?
2.
Yep. Y equals negative 6x plus 7. Be x equals, so that means I'm going to go y equals negative 6 times is 23 over 14 plus 7. You will need a calculator for this. Six times is 23 is 138. So we negative 138 over 14 plus 7. There's two things you could do. You could simplify this first if you want. Or you are more than welcome to, before you simplify, to look at this one first. There's multiple ways you can do it. I'm just going to do it this way. I've made 7 the same as 7 over 1. I want my fraction to be out of 14, so I need to times 7 by 14.
98.
which is 98. Only thing I need to do now, I've got my denominator of 14 and I'm just going negative 138 plus 98. Which gives me 40. Final step is simplifying. They both have a common factor of 2. So I'm going 40 divided by 2 is 20. 14 divided by 2 is 7. So my coordinate is going to be 23 over 14 and 20 over 7.
They're both negative. No, the 20 is 20 negative. How much is?
All good, Abby? Abby, what part? We'll do one more on this anyway.
Shouldn't the fraction as a whole be a negative and not just 138?
It is, but it applies to the numerator. 'Cause the numerator talks about what you have. I'll do one more on this and then we'll move on. I'm going to keep doing multiple ones of these. Okay, the next question is y equals x plus 2 and 3x minus 4x is equal to negative 1.
Mr. Carter, wouldn't negative 138 plus 98 be negative 40?
Sorry, you actually, is that what you said?
Yeah, the negative
Negative
20
40
over 7.
and negative 20, yeah.
Oh,
You're right, sorry. I missed one negative, which changes
my
everything.
capabilities and I could student.
Okay, the next question. Y equals x plus 2 and 3x minus 4y equals negative 1. After this, we will move on to elimination.
What time are you going? 25. Would you go 1 into 2 instead?
That's what I'm doing.
Yeah, thank you.
I'll explain it. Okay, I'm going to go over this one.
Did you get negative 7 as well? Because I panicked.
Our first equation is y equals x plus 2. My second equation, 3x. Take away 4y equals negative 1. So the first thing I'm going to do again is I'm going to substitute 1 into 2. The reason why I'm doing it that way because y is already by itself. So straight away, I'm just going to write down my equation for 2, 3x minus 4. Y is x plus 2 equals negative 1. Second part, what do I need to do, Ruth? Can you help me expand it, please? What would it be?
Negative 4x.
Yeah?
Negative 8.
Negative 8 equals negative 1. What's the next step, Isaac?
Subtract.
Yeah, well, I've got a like term here. So, what's 3x take away 4x? Negative 1x, or I can just put negative x, can't I? Take away 8 is equal to negative 1.
Negative x equals 7.
Moving along, Belle, what's next?
You get x by itself.
Sorry?
You get x by itself.
Yes, how do I do that?
Plus 8 to both sides.
Plus 8 to both sides. And that gives me negative x is equal to 7. What's the final step, Charlie?
I flipped them around, so I went x equals negative 7.
Yeah. So really all I'm doing is just dividing both sides by negative 1, so the negative changes. So that would have been x equals negative 7. Did everyone get that? The next thing you should have done is substitute that into the equation. I'm purposely picking my equation 1. So sub x equals negative 7 into y equals x plus 2. So straight away, I just need to go y equals, my x is negative 7, so I go negative 7 plus 2. Negative 7 plus 2 is?
Negative 5.
Is it negative 9?
Negative 5.
Oh, sorry, thank you.
That's what I said.
Y equals negative 5. Because it's asking for us to know the point that it intersects, so I need to write it as brackets negative 7, comma, negative 5. Okay, we are going to use another method now because there is two methods. This is just substituting. The next, we are going to look at elimination. So I will write this off in a minute, and I can see everyone's written it down. All good, Belle? And Trinity?
Yeah.
Fine. Ruth?
Yeah, I'm done.
Okay, so I haven't gone through this approach yet, so that's what I'm going to do now. Now, the first thing I'm going to think about is we've got two equations, and you need to think about if you can't see a clear relationship, then I would not recommend using this method. The substitution one is always going to be easier if there is no relationship. So when I'm writing my equations down, I want you to write them underneath each other. So I'm just going to write down 6x take away 2y is equal to 10. I want my x's always underneath each other, so I'll put 2x plus 5y is equal to negative 8. Just so it helps, I'm just labelling on the side. That just helps me keep track. The second part that I need to do is, if I look at my x's, I'm just going to focus on my x for this point because I can see a relationship. What can I times 2x by to get to 6x? 3. Because we are wanting to eliminate, so we need something equal. So straight away, I'm going to times this side by 3. To be equivalent, I need to do the other one. When I'm doing that, I'm going to rewrite my equations again underneath. So this time I've still got 6x take away 2y is equal to 10. Underneath, what's 2 times 3?
6.
6x. What's 5 times 3?
15.
15y. And then negative 8 times 3 is negative, it's 24. So that's the first part. Now, because at the moment it's equal, so if I put these equations together, it's going to be equivalent and still balanced, because I'm putting the same weight on both sides. Is that making sense? So if I subtract the same thing from both sides, it's going to be equal as well. So that's where I like to do extra working out. You can either take away or you can add. I'm just going to I like to put a takeaway sign next to everything. And it's forming an equation. So I'll just draw a line if that helps you think about what's going on. Australia, what's 6x take away 6x? 0. What's negative 2y take away 15y, Ruth? 13y. And then the final part, Brian, what's 10 take away negative 24? Sorry?
Wouldn't it be 17y? Negative 2 take away 15?
Negative 2 take away 15. Yeah, you're right. And the last one is 10 take away negative. A take away negative is adding. So 10 plus 24?
34.
34. The final part is getting y by itself, which means I need to do the opposite of times, which is divide. So I divide both sides by 17. Y equals. How many 17s in 34?
2.
2. Y equals 2. I've got my y value. What do you think I need to do to find my x value now? Substitute. Yes.
Would it be negative 17 or positive 17?
Well, if I'm taking a
17y.
negative,
17y.
It's positive 17 because you're
So that'd be
negative
positive?
taking away.
and here,
Wouldn't you be dividing
Hold on.
by the negative 17?
negative 2 take away is negative, so that is negative y equals 2 so far. Which means y will be negative 2.
If you're dividing y by negative 17, wouldn't that make y positive and 2 negative? Oh, you already done that.
Yeah.
Okay, never mind.
Okay, so I'm going to substitute that in. So that I will pick any equation. What equation do you want me to pick, please? Caleb?
Second one.
Second?
Who's going to do this?
So, wherever I see my y, I'm going to be putting negative 2. 5 times negative 2 equals negative 8. And then I'm going to solve it. 5 times negative 2 is Callum?
Negative 10.
2x take away 10 is equal to negative 8. Jake, what's the next step?
Put the negative 10 onto the other side.
So I plus 10 on both sides.
Yeah.
What is negative 8 plus 10?
2.
2. And finally, I need to divide by 2. So I get x equals 1, and then I can rewrite it as a coordinate.
Sorry for the interruption. Envy and Mary, can you please head back to class? Thank you.
Which is 1 comma negative 2. We're going to do one more like this, and this time you're going to be doing this yourself. So first step that you need to do every time is line up your equations underneath each other. Make sure your x's are lined up, make sure your y is lined up. Okay. The next question. 7y take away x is equal to 11, and x plus y is equal to 10.
Clearly an easier equation to substitute. That's why
Australia, do you need help?
If you only $2 and then you borrow $4, how much do you get? Just remains $7. Is that making more sense?
Yeah, I'm still.
Starting
Why
with
aren't they?
y
What do you mean, why aren't
is
I?
equal to this part here.
Why would I steal the bank's money? Times both, times,
Yeah.
1 by 7, and then you can just get rid of everything. Times everything by 7. You have to get rid of everything. You have 0 equals whatever. 7y minus x equals 11. 7y plus 7x equals 17.
Now, I just had a really good question. Now, for this equation on our second one, x plus y equals 10, you can move your terms around in your equation because it's better to have all your x's under each other and all your y under each other so you don't make any mistakes. So, ideally, I would change this question to y plus x equals 10. So, when I'm writing my two equations, I've got 7y take away x is equal to 11, and I have y plus x is equal to 10. This question is slightly different because you don't need to think about timesing it by anything. Instantly, you should be able to see that you can cancel something out. And Trinity, did you add or did you take away?
Take away. Get rid of them.
You took away?
Yep.
I'm going to ask you a question. If I put a takeaway sign here,
Yep.
what's negative x take away x?
That's a really good question.
Negative 2x.
Negative 2x, so have you cancelled?
Ooh.
So
Shucks.
if I put a plus there, what's negative x plus x?
Oh,
0, and then you've cancelled.
Done this wrong. I've done this terribly wrong.
Likewise, Riley,
That's
you
why
can
you're
finish this part
here.
off with
Tell
me.
them.
What's 7y plus y? 8y. That's cancelled. And what's left here? And then you can find out your y value, which is 8y equals is 21. So you should have got y equals 21 over 8. The final step will just be substituting that in. I'll give you a minute and I'm going to pick someone up randomly to tell me the rest of the answer. So this one should be easy because we know what y is and we've got a simple equation. So you should have just gone x, I know my y, so I'm plussing this 21 over 8 and I know it's going to equal 10. How do I get x by itself? I just take away this. So if I take away this 21 over 8 on both sides, that gives me x is equal to 10 take away is 21 over 8. I can simplify that though, because I need to get my denominators to be the same. So I can rewrite this as 10 over 1 if I wanted to. I can make my denominator to be 8. Which means I times the 1 by 8, so I can times 10 by 8, which is 80. So I've got 80 over 8, take away 21 over 8, which is then going to equal 59 over 8. So now you've got your points. X is 59 over 8 and Y is 21 over 8.